This is the ranking video for the Rogue Subclasses. I've got a feeling this will be one of the quicker videos because rogues only get two differences between the subclasses. One at level 3 when you choose the subclass, and at level 9 when you get the second subclass feature. I will also look at multiclassing. As always, this is just my casual opinion. You let me know if you would give any of the subclasses a slightly different ranking or a different score for one of the different things I'm ranking them on, which is only going to be 3 things. And so in third place, I don't think this is going to be of any surprise. Got the Arcane Trickster. The level 3 features a 5 out of 10. Level 9 feature an 8 out of 10 and the multi-classing potential just a 2 out of 10. So with Gale as our model, I will show you what the Arcane Trickster gets at level 3. And it looks good. It looks like we get some spellcasting because we do. We do get this Mage Hand with Le Jardin, and it's just not as good as it should be really. We can't do huge amounts with it compared to a normal Mage Hand. We get 2 cantrips, and the problem here is that rogues will usually want to attack to get sneak attack, and lots or all of these cantrips cost an action. Thankfully, rogues generally just need a good dexterity and a bit of constitution, so you could build one with a lot of intelligence. But at the end of the day, the cantrips aren't really powerful enough to let me give this a high number. I mean, maybe I want to have a more utility type cantrip with Minor Illusion. That kind of feels something more like an Arcane Trickster would have. We get to pick 2 out of these 5 spells. I think Charm Person is crap. Color Spray is crap because it only lasts until the start of the enemy's next turn. So if your Arcane Trickster is going just before the enemy, actually Color Spray has no purpose. Sky itself is okay. It's a ritual anyway. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is alright. Sleep can be okay. We get to pick one of the others. This is nicer. I'd probably go with a ritual because we don't get very many spell slots, and this is another problem with the Arcane Trickster, is that by level 12, even it's level 10 actually, we get 4 level 1 spell slots and 3 level 2 spell slots, and that's it. That's our entire accompaniment of spell slots. So that's all we get until level 9. The Arcane Tricksters are a spell's known class, so at some levels we get to pick a new spell and we can replace that spell sometimes as well. Then at level 9 we get Magical Ambush. While you are hidden, your targets have disadvantage on saving throws against your spells. And the great thing about the Arcane Trickster is you can hide as a bonus action just because you're a rogue, nothing to do with the Arcane Trickster in particular. Now I've kind of lamented the fact that we don't get very many spell slots for Arcane Tricksters, but this can apply to scrolls. So if you stack or collect lots of scrolls, you can actually have the Arcane Trickster be a caster using scrolls. Now if we look at bg3 wiki here, and I've seen people repeat this on Reddit, it says Magical Ambush is bugged. It triggers only when hiding in a bright zone or passing through a bright zone while hidden. I'm not quite sure where this comes from, because I'm in complete darkness. I've made sure because I'm using the darkness spell. If I hide, I get the Magical Ambush condition. And if I go to target someone, I'm not actually going to use this yet. Perhaps I'll choose blindness instead. It's 70% chance. If I unhide, it's 49% chance. I'm going to go test this out so I can actually see. Over here we've got somewhere that is obscured. If I hide, I get the Magical Ambush condition. Now naturally, Mizora is magically resistant, so she usually has advantage on saving throws. So when I cast this on her, I would expect her not to have advantage because she should have disadvantage. Now it doesn't matter whether that works or not. What matters is that for her saving throw, she didn't get advantage. There she is, she's back again. If I come into the light, I can hide and I have advantage, that's fine. I've got Magical Ambush. And so to try this somewhere completely indoors, not outside in the bright light. If I hide, I get Magical Ambush. I don't know whether this was a bug earlier in the game, in previous patches. But if I use, let's say, Chain Lightning, they failed their saving throw because they had disadvantage. Anyway, I quite like this. This is pretty good. I think this is the only reason that I would take Arcane Trickster up to level 9, really, is so they can hide and use scrolls with them. So I can make enemies have disadvantage on their saving throws. But I will say, though, that you can make your spell save DC high enough that enemies will fail the saving throws 100% of the time anyway. So perhaps this is better for someone whose spell save DC isn't as high. Anyway, back to multiclassing. It's just because the arcane trickster gets so few spell slots. It's not really very good multiclassing it with a magical class because you lose your spell slot progression, and there's not much point in multiclassing it with a martial class because you're not going to get much use out of the spells that you have. And also compared to the other two subclasses, they get multiclassed so much more frequently. In second place, I put the Assassin. So level 3 features an 8 out of 10. Its level 9 feature just a 2 out of 10. And the multiclassing potential up at a 9 out of 10. And just kind of like with the Rangers, and also actually with the other subclass, the Thief, the multiclassing potential is very high because the level 3 features are very good. You only really need to take 3 levels in Assassin to get the benefits from the subclass anyway. Not necessarily the Rogue class, but the subclass of Assassin. So we get 3 things. 1, you have advantage on attack rolls against creatures that haven't had a turn yet, which means you want to be going early in the initiative order. Unfortunately, assassins don't boost their initiative by themselves, which is why it multiclasses so well with Gloomstalker in particular, because at level 3 you get a +3 bonus to initiative, and you get the bonuses from Assassin and from Gloomstalker. You get the extra attack on the first turn. Any successful attack roll against a surprised creature is a critical hit. Something I forgot sometimes when I was playing Assassin myself is you actually have to hit the enemy first. Then you will get a critical hit, which is lovely. You can do loads of damage, especially if you've got a very high sneak attack damage dice bonus. And lastly, quick as an alley cat, blah blah blah, you immediately restore your action and bonus action at the start of combat. But I'm fairly sure we regain our bonus action anyway, and we only lose our action normally. There is even a setting in the custom settings, difficulty settings, that lets you replenish this. Anyway, this is very strong, which makes it a very good subclass for multiclassing. Then we have to move on to the level 9 feature. So we've worked hard, used lots of sweat and tears and blood, bitten many boars if you're Astarian. And what do we get at level 9 as an assassin? All we get to bloody learn is Disguise Self. That's it. It's not even Disguise Self. Infiltration Expertise. Adopt a new identity, changing your appearance, which is just Disguise Self. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Disguise Self as such, but to get this as a level 9 feature? This is awful. If I really, really wanted this, what am I going to do? I could take a level 1 in any class that gets Disguise Self at level 1, plus gain access to some cantrips, some spell slots, maybe some other features. This is infuriating. The problem is that the tabletop just hasn't, in this case, has not translated well in Baldur's Gate 3. I'd much rather give my enemies disadvantage on their saving throws against my spells than cast this Disguise Self. And that's it for Assassin. It comes in second place, trailing behind Thief, whose level 3 features I gave an 8 out of 10. Level 9 features a 5 out of 10 and multiclassing potential a 10 out of 10. I mean, maybe I should give this a 10 out of 10. Getting an extra bonus action is so good. So the thing is, the difference here between Thief and Assassin is the Thief's level 3 feature is much more generic, much more general, whereas the Assassin subclass feature is very specific at what it does, and it does it very well. Let's not forget, you gain resistance to falling damage. I don't generally care about that too much. Generally, I know I'm going to be falling, so I'm going to make it safe for myself when I do fall, when I jump down somewhere. So for multiclassing, I think the Thief you'll find appears in many more different multiclasses, whereas for Assassin, you've got the very strong Gloomstalker Assassin. Don't generally see it popping up in many other multiclasses. Whereas Thief goes well with Berserker, Monk, maybe even Sorcerer to gain 2 bonus actions for your quickened meta magic, but of course that there is quite a high opportunity cost there for Sorcerers. But having an extra bonus action is really good. Even fighters, even if they don't want to admit it, would love having an extra bonus action. Be able to shove, dash, hide, any of these good things, jumping around further. There's almost no class that doesn't benefit from having an extra bonus action. Plus, you can just dual wield hand crossbows, so within combat it isn't just about utility. It means you can shoot off more hand crossbow shots every single turn anyway. So yeah, this is really, really good. Perhaps I should have given it a 9 or 10 out of 10. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Then at level 9 we get Supreme Sneak. Blend into the environment so completely that you become invisible for 10 turns. I mean, I guess it's okay. It replenishes every short rest. I'd say potentially you're going to use this more than Disguise Self anyway. So here's Supreme Sneak. It's one way to become invisible, to get invisibility. It's once per short rest. It's not too bad. You could potentially use it in a combat. It's probably more useful to set up combat so enemies are surprised. Maybe for thieving, you know, pickpocketing something. It's got utility. It's not just about damage. You can use this more often potentially than just Disguise Self, but you could just have an Arcane Trickster. There are potions of invisibility, scrolls of invisibility, other classes get invisibility. At the end of the day, I don't really care about this too much, but I can see it being potentially useful. But anyway, that's it. The Arcane Trickster is far behind. If the level 9 feature is bugged, this value would go down, I guess, to like 3 or something, because you have to have a very specific situation. And I do think the Thief is more useful for multi-classing in general than the Assassin, but the Assassin's still a very high score because it goes so well with Gloomstalker. On the whole, I'm really disappointed by the subclasses of rogues, where generally a monoclassed rogue, I think most people would agree, not everyone will, but most people will agree that monoclassed rogues are just some of the weakest characters. And I think part of that is because they don't get many subclass features in these levels, and a lot of the features they do get don't help you in combat very much. But that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for making it this far and watching the video. And thank you to all the members of my channel. And I'll catch you in the next one.